Paradise, Louisiana, with Gary Risponi and Don Dubuc. Paradise, Louisiana would also like to thank these sponsors.
Baton Rouge Coca-Cola Bottling Company, Danni's Car Wash and Oil Change, Cracker Barrel Convenience Stores. We have more than you expect. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana, Farm Bureau Insurance, Louisiana Fish Fry Products, Demco, First South Farm Credit, Area Wholesale Tire Company, with tire programs for tire dealers. Welcome to this week's edition of Paradise, Louisiana. I'm Don Dubuc. Gary Risponi is on assignment in Grand Isle. He'll be back next week. So we recruited a fill-in co-host for this week, my grandnephew, Drew Dubuc. Drew, good to have you here, buddy. Drew, tell me, you do a little bit of hunting and fishing? You like to hunt and fish?
Yes, sir.
What's your favorite, fishing or hunting?
Hunting.
Hunting? What kind of hunting?
Teal.
Teal? We're going to show some folks some of your hunting and fishing trips a little while. Do want to tell everybody else what we're going to be doing. We got another special guest coming in here named Danni. Danni is the Labrador Retriever owned by Carl Beier. And if you've been wondering about getting a dog that's an SUV, a sports utility dog, well, there's one for you. She hunts birds, she hunts ducks, she hunts quail, she hunts pheasant. You've seen her on before. She'll be in the studio with us. Also, Carl is an accomplished artist. We'll show you some of his wildlife art and also how you can take advantage of getting some of that maybe for some early Christmas presents. Also, I got to make a fishing trip down in Grand Isle. Caught some redfish and speckled trout, two fish you like to catch, right? In fact, you just won first place in the Rummel Rodeo for the youth division of the redfish, so maybe we'll show a little bit of that. Also, we're going to have Jeff Bruhl come in with us and talk about fishing speckled trout on the Lake Ponchartrain Causeway Bridge. And we're also going to have some information on some upcoming fishing rodeos that'll be coming up and a whole lot more. So keep it right here on Paradise, Louisiana. Let's go take a look at some of what Drew's been doing over his long 3-year hunting and fishing career. We'll be right back. You're watching Paradise, Louisiana.
Redneck. Well, the boys round here don't listen to the Beatles run. Old Bo Cephas threw a jukebox needle at the honky-tonk where their boots stomp all night. What? That's right. Yeah, and what they call work a digging in the dirt. Gotta get it in the ground before the rain come down to get paid to get the girl. Tell me how you get your four-wheel drive. Yeah, the boys round here drinking that ice cold beer, talking about girls, talking about trucks, running them red dirt roads out, kicking up dust. The boys round here.
When you're ready to really enjoy life at a slower pace, become a landowner. First South Farm Credit specializes in financing and refinancing land, but not just for farmers. They offer loans to purchase timberland, hunting and fishing, or recreational property. Their experience in land, timber, and loans set them apart from standard lending institutions. Contact a First South Farm Credit loan officer for more information. First South Farm Credit, a specialized rural land investment lender helping you realize your dream.
As members of a Touchstone Energy cooperative, we've all got a job to do. And the more we work together, the more we save. That's the power of your co-op membership.
Demco, your Touchstone Energy cooperative.
Who doesn't want to save money on fuel? Now, Shell and the Fuel Rewards Network are putting you in control of how much you pay for fuel. Simply buy whatever's on your shopping list. Clothes, groceries, even dinner out. And earn cents per gallon savings at participating retailers nationwide. Now, fuel prices are in your hands. So why wait? Sign up at fuelrewards.com today and turn shopping power into saving power.
Welcome back to Paradise, Louisiana. Drew Dubuc is our special co-host. And Drew, you look good out there hunting and fishing. People might want to know a little bit more about you. Are you married? Are you planning on getting married sometime soon? Oh, good deal. And where do you work? Besides your hunting and fishing job, because we know that's what you do full time. He's not interested in the job, ladies and gentlemen. Smart young man. Got a trip to make. Had a trip to make down in Grand Isle this week, and had to go without you. Didn't have you to help me catch those redfish. We were fishing with Captain Darrell Carpenter of RealScreamers.com. Actually, we hope to catch some of those speckled trout on the beach. Right now, Grand Isle, you actually got almost two different fisheries: front side of the island on the beach, and then of course the back side of the island. All the signs were there. Had good tidal range. Had some bait in the water. But just sometimes those speckled trout just don't cooperate. So what we did was we made a little sneak to the backside and caught one of your favorite fish, some of those big old redfish. So we're going to take you down there now with Captain Darrell Carpenter, RealScreamers.com, fishing on the backside of Grand Isle.
That's a sheephead, I believe.
Yep.
So start.
It's been really good. I mean, everything we've done has been in that large range. The trout have mostly been out front. On days that we cannot get out front, it is a little bit tough because there's been a decrease in the number of trout we've seen inside. But there again, you know, we said this any day now, any day now, any day now. We have to remember that we're still running about a month behind on everything. So next few weeks, you'll get some more of those spawners out front. They'll start moving back onto the oyster reefs. The inside should pick up also.
In the engine. He's on your side, Tom. Here comes carp. I don't know, maybe a big catfish? Spanish. He's got spots, but they ain't in the right place. What he is, Rondo sea brim. That Rondo sea brim in here. Rondo sea brim tastes better than
Well, the pros is they're really good to eat. I've got customers lately that we've kept a few for them, and they tell me it's the favorite fish in the box. They like them better than trout. The cons are they're very dangerous to fool with in the boat. They can bite you, they can stick you, and the cleaning. I mean, they're hard to clean, but once you get a knack of it, you get some help, boom, they're good to eat. Great fish to eat. Yeah, well, they've got a really small mouth, so what helps is a smaller hook. You know, of course, shrimp is their favorite thing, but put it on a little bit smaller hook, give them a little bit of time to eat the bait before you set the hook.
way up. That's why you bring plenty of bait. The thing about Spanish, they are edible. Not real good, but you gotta watch their teeth.
Live bait's been good. Croakers and or shrimp. The fish have still mostly been on shrimp, but never leave without it. We leave with everything.
Oh, yep, Spanish. Yep, another Spanish. Se habla español.
Way up.
Spanish. That's why
you bring plenty of bait. First off, don't give up too soon. We had a lack of tide, lack of current today. Stick it out for a little while because all it takes is one little thing to change. But whenever that doesn't happen, start moving back inside. You've got your choices of fishing oyster reefs inside and/or going for redfish and various other things in the marsh.
Ooh, baby red.
And I didn't bring my tagging kit.
You heard of a rat red? That's what you call a mouse red. How you gonna get this guy?
I have no idea. But
You might have to go in to get him.
Daryl Gaspard, we fixing to do something.
If you can get your hand on a line, that'd be your best
It's
shot.
braid. Oh, I've got the line.
You want a Band-Aid or glue?
I'm going around the bend and we're gonna go chase him. Whoa, easy, boy. I think it's a flounder.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Bloopers.
What we have here, ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is a problem. We got a man with a broken rod right here, and he's got a nice fish on the end, but it's on the other side of the marsh grass, so pay attention how it's done.
Boy, are you ready for bloopers? If it's a stingray, I'm gonna be mad. And I think it is.
Looks red. He looks red.
Yep,
Yeah.
stingray.
I want him.
Well, that's rod number 3 for this week.
Fish on.
Oh, better one.
Much
There we
better
go.
one.
There we go.
Look, he came to
That's
play.
mono on it. Is that mono on it? Yeah, I believe he classifies as a bull there, Don.
Oh, pretty close. Yeah, and I'll tell you, when the wind finally quit blowing on the beach, it still left us with some dirty water, so the speckled trout are hard to come by. But down here in Grand Isle, get on the backside, and you can scratch out a nice fish dinner.
We find that they may cruise a little bit more, so spending a little more time, a little less time on the trolling motor, a little more time working points and so forth, can pay off sometimes. But you just got to let the fish tell you what they're doing. If you catch one and you spend a little more time on the point, you catch 2 or 3 more off of that point, you know they're cruising in that area, give it a little bit of time. If not, move on. Or catfish.
Oh,
Small trout. See ya. Headed for the Gulf.
bird's going. I'm pulling for the fish.
Oh, I was thinking to say something.
There he comes. There he comes. All right.
I was thinking to say something.
So if plan A, catching speckled trout on the beach, is not working for you, let me tell you, plan B ain't so bad after all on the backside.
Ask me about my Tempur-Pedic.
Ask me how fast I fall asleep.
Why not talk to someone who's sleeping on the most highly recommended bed in America?
Ask me about staying asleep.
Tempur-Pedic owners are more satisfied than owners of any traditional mattress brand.
Ask me how it feels after 10 years.
Tempur-Pedic, the most highly recommended bed in America.
Ask about Tempur-Pedic at Olin's, where you know you always get the guaranteed low price. Olin's is the only store in Baton Rouge and Lafayette with the full line of Tempur-Pedics.
As members of a Touchstone Energy cooperative, we've all got a job to do. And the more we work together, the more we save. That's the power of your co-op membership.
Demco, your Touchstone Energy cooperative.
Who doesn't want to save money on fuel? Now, Shell and the Fuel Rewards Network are putting you in control of how much you pay for fuel. Simply buy whatever's on your shopping list. Clothes, groceries, even dinner out. And earn cents per gallon savings at participating retailers nationwide. Now, fuel prices are in your hands. So why wait? Sign up at fuelrewards.com today and turn shopping power into saving power.
As sure as the sun rises over the Gulf waters, the excitement builds for the 20th year as the 2014 CCA Louisiana Star Fishing Tournament is upon us.
Me and some of my friends signed up last year, and believe it or not, I actually won.
Over 101 days of fishing, with over 25 inshore and offshore divisions, like the Youth Division, Speckled Trout Division, and don't forget, the Tagged Redfish Division, where the first to catch a tagged redfish wins a new Chevy Silverado. Registered at ccastar.com. Share in the passion, conserve our coast.
And welcome back to Paradise, Louisiana. I got our co-host Drew Dubuc with us. Also, our hunting buddy and fishing buddy, Carl Beier, joins us, as well as, no, this is not Gary Risponi. Gary's on assignment. This is actually Danni, the Labrador Retriever. Carl, thanks for coming by and bringing Danni with us.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having us.
Carl, you know, a lot of people are interested in getting dogs. They see how much fun it is to hunt with a dog, whether it's bird hunting or whether it's duck hunting or goose hunting. But they're concerned about, well, am I going to be able to take care of this dog? Is it going to be a house dog? Is it going to be a pet? Do I need to get 3 or 4 different dogs for every application? You kind of found one dog that, kind of like my dog Gracie, you call it a SUD, a sports utility dog. She kind of does it all. Tell us about Danni.
Well, I actually looked into getting a dog that I could do the upland bird type of thing. A friend of mine kind of introduced it to me over a German short hair, and I'm thinking, man, if I can get my labs that mostly do the duck and goose hunting to kind of get out there and point birds, because a flushing dog, it's kind of hard to chase them down, especially when you have a couple of body parts that fell apart. But so I put in pointing retrievers and came up with the pointing retriever breed, which I didn't really understand was around, but she is great. We get to do it all. We've gone on trips. Don and I have been together, a bunch of other people. She goose hunts in the morning, duck hunts in the afternoon, bird hunts during the midday. I do a Canada trip. She's going all the time. Plus, she fishes with me. She's a great house dog, and the breed. She's not a overly what we call excitable dog or whatever. So she's really relaxed outside of the hunting. But it's like when you go to hunting, it turns a switch. But we've done it all.
Some people are confused when they hear a pointing lab. They're not actually a different subspecies or different breed. No. It's more in the training and the mentality of the dog.
Yeah, actually, I think the AKC, I'm not sure on this completely, but I don't think the AKC really recognizes the pointing retriever. But they do have like the Pointing Retriever Association. They're kind of a segregated thing. I think the breed's been around for somewhere in 20 years of people breeding the dog that specifically do the pointing. I've talked to a couple other people that have them. They're a little bit more like her. She doesn't have the big, thick Labrador head. She's a little bit taller, and she's a little bit skinnier. But the nice thing about these dogs is they really hold up in the field. I know we've hunted Kansas. We've hunted the woodcock. Mm-hmm. She holds up pretty well with all the other dogs. They don't break down after a few hours, so she can stay at it all day long. You got the cooler weather. And she does a great job of pointing. Plus, she has a little bit of that flushing instinct, too, so when the other dogs are locked up on a pheasant, she'll go in there and root them out. She's pretty much gets beat up rooting through that stuff. But I tell you what, between all the different dogs, it's great. But, yeah, a nice dog to have. You can do it all. Great family dog, great pet. It's great in the boat fishing. We've done it all. In fact, we were just tarpon fishing in Boca Graham. Had a 150-pound tarpon just about jump over the front of the boat, and she just watched it, didn't try and go overboard or nothing.
What advice or tips would you have for somebody who is going to be shopping for a dog that can do it all? Where would you tell them to look or what to look for in a pup?
I got her out of Missouri, and I talked to some folks there. I actually went on the internet and found this dog because it was a whole new or different breed to me. But I think if you talk to the people, you want to look at tractability, first of all. If you get a dog that's like a real high-end field trial, it's like having a drag racer and trying to drive it around every day. It's a one-purpose dog. If you're going to do a lot of trials and stuff, that's a good thing. But if you're looking for a good hunting companion, talk about hunting stock, talk about tractability, talk about how trainable. The easier the dog is to train, you want that good hunting instinct, but that's going to make a big difference for a livable dog all year round. We get to hunt them. I'm lucky. I get to hunt them 6-7 months out of the year with with my schedule. But if you're only hunting for a few months or you want to do some trips and stuff like that, having a dog that can do it all is great and be a good companion too.
Very good. Drew, do you think Danny can come hunting with us? Now,
I
if the
believe-
dove or the bird falls in the water, who's going to go get it?
The dog.
And what if it falls on the ground?
Me.
You're going to get it.
Are you
okay.
faster than the dog?
All right, we'll be right back with more. Got another interesting sideline that Carl's into. Wildlife art. We'll be back with that. You're watching Paradise, Louisiana.
Benny's Car Wash and Oil Change has been keeping cars and trucks in Baton Rouge clean and running smooth for over 50 years. At Benny's, we feature professional car washing, complete detailing, high-tech waxing and buffing, interior cleaning, and tire shine. Benny's, one stop for car maintenance with complete oil and lube services and even state inspections at our express locations. Visit one of our 5 convenient locations, including our newest store on Greenwell Springs Road. And don't forget to stop by Be Quick Convenience Store and Fuel Stop. Benny's Car Wash and Oil Change. Drive in dirty, drive out clean.
Welcome back to Paradise, Louisiana, and Carl Beier joins us today, and we kind of have a nickname for him among our circle. He is the world's most interesting man, number 2. Kind of resembles him a little bit, too, if you look at him. But aside from being an accomplished hunter and fisherman, Carl, you kind of got into doing some wildlife artistry, and I tell you what, it's really some really interesting things. How did you get started into this?
Well, actually, I've been painting and doing artwork way back from before high school, probably in middle school, that kind of thing. And my grandfather, who was born in Germany, he was an artist, but he passed away at an early age. And my dad did a lot of artwork and also woodworking and all stuff like that. So it's a talent that runs in the family. But actually, the part about doing the whole waterfowl thing really kind of started several years. I've done some paintings over the years or whatever, but started several years ago, waterfowling and upland and that kind of stuff. My interest in there just really boiled over once I got to get out of the real business in the real world and enjoy the outdoors a lot more. But I was sitting out at camp after teal season, hotter than heck, and my hips were bad and hurting, so I was just laying there and I started doing a bunch of little sketches like this and kind of filled up the hunting camp with these type of sketches and all that and did some paintings for there. And I've always done paintings and stuff for friends, and it's just kind of been really, really enjoyable. And I'm not great with a camera. So my mind captures those special moments, those special pictures, such as this, those pintails that came around the back corner that we never, actually saw. They flew right past, and everybody sat there, and we go, I guess we were supposed to shoot. So, trying to capture those moments. And, like on this painting here, that's one of those ones I did for a good friend of mine, Joe Daly. He's in his 80s now, and he was looking to have something, he loves the speckled-bellied goose hunting, and he was just actually, wanting to have something with geese in there, and I thought, man, what a great way to put, like, those decoys that sneak in early in the morning, the birds that sneak in over the decoys early in the morning. So it's just capturing those moments and sharing it with people, and everybody seems to enjoy them, so I think this is a good way to be able to share and give back, too.
And you kind of expanded it. Tell us about some of the other prints that you've done.
I've done stuff for fishing and that type of stuff, but also we just had a Woodcock Society benefit, and I did three prints, pen and ink prints there that we did for donation, and they revolved around all the things we see woodcock hunting you can't capture on a camera. Getting stuck in the weeds with your gun when the bird's flushing, the dog, birds flushing in front of the dog, or just those aspects. And I think it's pretty neat. And do the pen and ink, the oils. These are reproductions now that hopefully that'll go good. Complement people's offices or homes where they can enjoy it.
Could you actually do some custom work if somebody's got a particular spot or scene that they would love to have immortalized? Could you take
absolutely several photographs, an idea of what the what the event is or what revolved around it, whether it be the setting in the morning, the sun, or the particular people you're with, that type of thing. definitely could work with that.
Drew, what do you think? Got a good coloring book to do that? He must have some nice colors, huh? He likes it. And if you'd like to get one, check it out. They're on my webpage, DonTheOutdoorsGuy.com. All the information there. Simply go to the Outdoors Mall. And if you'd like to get in touch with Carl about maybe doing a customized print, you can certainly send me information on my contact button on the webpage. That's DonTheOutdoorsGuy.com. Some very, really one great way to immortalize those very special moments without bringing the camera.
Yeah, and it's that's kind of a good thing because it's in your mind's eye. The camera just captures so much, but when you can kind of inflect those feelings of the hunt too, I think is what actually makes it special. And in fact, Don, for helping me out with all this, I'm presenting this to you.
Oh, great.
Maybe I should present it to Drew here.
Drew's going to go after those speckle-bellied geese.
That's
one
it.
day,
You're going to be hunting those one day, aren't you, Drew?
All right, very good.
All right.
Thank you so much, Carl. We'll be right back. You're watching Paradise, Louisiana.
We build tires, but not tires like anybody else. We build Cooper tires for people, not just cars. People who are chauffeurs and shuttle pilots, heavy haulers and heavy hitters. More than what your Cooper tires can do, it's about what you can do with your Cooper tires. Life's a road trip. Come on, let's go.
6 years ago, my wife and children were hit head-on by a drunk driver. All three of them were injured, but my wife was more severe. Total of all her operations was like $365,000. So, that would bankrupt, a person without insurance, for sure. Blue Cross took care of everything. I never had to worry or had to even think about it. I was just not concerned because I knew I had a good insurance company. After this experience, I've never been worried about anything happening as far as emergencies are concerned with my family's health and mine, because I know it'll be taken care of. Blue Cross gives you so much support, it just puts that trauma in the back of your mind. They stand behind you when you're in need, and they're there for you when you're in need. When you need it the most, Blue Cross stands there with you, and you're not alone.
When you're ready to really enjoy life at a slower pace, become a landowner. First South Farm Credit specializes in financing and refinancing land, but not just for farmers. They offer loans to purchase timberland, hunting and fishing, or recreational property. Their experience in land, timber, and loans set them apart from standard lending institutions. Contact a First South Farm Credit loan officer for more information. First South Farm Credit, a specialized rural land investment lender helping you realize your dream.
Welcome back to Paradise, Louisiana. One of the real growing spots in fishing popularity is what we call Louisiana's longest fishing reef. The Lake Ponchartrain Causeway spans all the way from Metairie in Jefferson Parish northward to Mandeville in St. Tammany Parish, a system of 2 sets of bridges with pylons, some structure in Lake Ponchartrain, which pretty much is devoid of structure. One of the guys that has fished it all his life, Jeff Bruhl, joins us now. You've heard him on the radio programs. He's the purveyor of marshbass.com. He's also our bass fishing field reporter, but he also spends quite a bit of time chasing speckled trout on the Lake Ponchartrain Causeway, and he's here to give us some tips and information if you'd like to get started there. Jeff, a lot of people, particularly the Baton Rouge area, maybe even as far away as Lafayette, and of course Denham Springs, Hammond, and the people on the North Shore and on the South Shore get an opportunity to fish this bridge, but a lot of people don't have a lot of success. It's one of the more difficult places to catch speckled trout. What have you learned about it, and what can you tell people about fishing that bridge 101?
Well, first thing, it's a deep water bite. You're fishing in 12 to 14, sometimes 15 foot of water, and that's about the deepest depth you're going to find out there. If you get up close to the North Shore, it might be 6 to 8, real close in the fall. You'll catch them shallow, but most of the time you're out in mid-lake, 10 to 12 miles out. And the hardest part with a deep bite is knowing when you got the fish on there. A lot of people expect, when they come from the trestles or the bridges in the east, they expect to tap or the fish to pull back. And a lot of times those fish are just sitting there with your bait, and until you figure out how that bite is, you're not going to catch many fish out there.
You say figure out that bite. What have you generally found have been some of the tendencies and techniques that you would try until you hit on the right one?
Well, the first part, if you've never been out there, is I tell you to keep a tight line. Any kind of slack in your line, you're not going to feel the bite. I see a lot of guys, they'll work the pole, shake it, and then they'll drop their rod, and their line's laying on top of the water. When I take even young kids like this out there, what I do is I tell them, don't move your rod, just reel your bait. Because what'll happen is you'll reel it, and stop. And the next time you reel it, you'll feel your rod bend, you'll feel the fish load up on your bait. Then you realize, hey, I got something. After you do it several times, you kind of get the bite. And most of the guys I take out there that's never been and they experience that, after 1 or 2 trips, they got it down.
All right, now that Causeway is not a place where there's a lot of live bait available, and really that's not the preferred way to fish, is to go out there and fish with either live or dead bait and anchor up and just throw. You got to kind of keep moving because it's such a big area. You got to find those fish. How do you start off fishing? What do you use, and how do you work along the side based on whether you got an incoming or outgoing tide?
Well, the first thing I would tell people is really like bass fishing. You got to figure out the pattern within the pattern. They're going to be on a certain pole based on what the tide's doing. And once you figure out the direction, and it may be going in on the top and going out on the bottom, but once you figure out where that fish is sitting related to those pilings, you pretty much just keep moving and make 1 cast per set of pilings and just keep moving. Like bass fishing, you're just going to go down the pilings and keep throwing, and hopefully by the end of the day you're going to have a limit. But I think the big key when I start is I just start on one side of the bridge and I just kind of randomly move around 3 or 4 pilings, change directions, and it's kind of sometimes you just stumble on a pattern out there. You figure out they not on the piling, but they 4 foot this way, or they right in the middle of the pilings. But once you get that first bite, that kind of clues you in where they're going to be sitting.
Trolling motor is pretty much a must.
Yeah, it's a must. You have to have that. Some guys do troll with their big motors out there certain times of year, but to catch them on the pilings, you got to move just straight down the pilings, inside or out of them, and just keep moving.
And what kind of equipment should you come out there with?
I tell most guys medium action rods. I prefer just to cast and set up. But I tell them, fluorocarbon is the #1 thing out there. Usually light line, 12, 8 to 10 pound test. Because like I said, it's a deep bite. There's really nothing except the barnacles on the pilings to break off on. So if you get something light, it helps you feel the bait in the bottom and the bites and all that better.
And what about baits? What's your preference?
Just like to gulp shrimp. If they got a lot of shrimp in the lake certain times of year, usually the summertime is the best time for the shrimp, and then maybe you might get another fall run. And if you don't work this a lot, you basically just kind of drag it on the bottom, close to the pile. And it's great for the younger anglers, too, because they'll pick up drum and cheaphead and big old croakers out there now. So just let them drag it around, even if they're not really paying to a pattern. Just let them drag it behind the boat, and they'll catch fish. I've seen my kids growing up, they just letting them hang off the back of the boat, not throwing it anything, just dragging it. They'll pick up fish with it.
Jig head size.
I usually like the 3/8. If you've never been out there before, I'd tell you to maybe start with a 1/2 ounce to kind of get the pattern down of what you're doing. But I just basically use a plain old head, no color. Most of the time you're throwing against the pilings, you're going to beat the paint off of it anyway. So I just use this plain, straight lead head, 1/2 to 3/8, and just let it throw close to the pilings and figure out where the fish are sitting.
Pretty much when you decide to fish the Lake Ponchartrain Causeway, you're basically committed to that style of fishing. You're going to be fishing those poles. If for some reason it's not on or the weather kind of keeps you from getting to it, what's a backup plan there? There's a shoreline. Can the shoreline be productive? And there's a few reefs that have been constructed out there, artificial reefs. Can you maybe look to those areas if it's not happening on the bridge?
Yeah, the reefs are good. What I tell most people is if the wind's out of the south, go launch in Bonneville and fish that side. The wind's out of the north. For example, in the fall, you might have a day or two where you got a strong south wind with a front coming. Go to the old turnaround, crossover underneath. That's a good spot for big trout. And if it's hard out of the north after the front, just fish the first couple miles of the bridge. And I've done well certain times of year, just real close to shoreline, still fishing the causeway. Now, later in the year, August, September, you can get along Bayou Lacombe, mouth of Chafuncton. There'll be trout all over the mouths. But they tend to move out. May will be under the causeway, and October and November will be under the causeway.
And as far as points of accessibility, where's a good place to launch if you're fishing the south side, or are you going to leave from the north side?
Madisonville has a launch at the mouth of the river, and Mandeville has a launch. Mandeville can get kind of crowded if it's the word's out and they're really busy. They'll load up. So those are your two choices. You can run, if you come from Baton Rouge and you want to do a bass fishing trip, you might go to Tangipahoa or somewhere like that and launch in one of those, Beatico Creek, and then run out, do some bass fishing, and then fish redfish along the shorelines and the stumps, and then maybe go out under the causeway for trout.
Now, some of those launches are free, but in Madisonville, you need to have a sticker on your boat.
Right, that sticker runs like April to May or somewhere in there each year. It's about $12. You can get them at any of the little stores they have in town early in the morning, so you don't have to go to the town hall and get them anymore. So it's a good tip.
And of course, Lake Ponchartrain is a big, shallow, basically, lake and can get pretty rough, so you got to watch your weather conditions. Also, there's a problem that's been there in existence, and for some reason people don't know about it. On that north side, if you launch at that Madisonville launch, a lot of people want to come out of the launch and take that straight southeast cut across the mouth of the river to get to the bridge. Not a good idea.
Now, stay in the channel markers, run out to the lighthouse. That's where you're going to go, out in front of the lighthouse, and then take a left and go out in the lake. What people don't realize, about 100 years ago, that point of the Tchefuncte River was a piece of land with big cypress trees that ran all the way to the lighthouse. That's why the lighthouse is over there, because that marked the mouth of the river. Over the years, erosion and all that, you just have a big shelf with some stumps as big as this table, and you're not friendly on your lower unit if you hit one of those.
When is the causeway at its best, and when is it not fishable?
You can catch fish just about year-round, just depending on your tactics. But if you want to pitch the pilings, the full moon of May, just mark that down on your calendar. That's kind of like the signal to start that late spring season. And sometimes they'll be out there to the 4th of July, and sometimes they'll be out there maybe May and middle of June. They're kind of gone, depending on what the shrimp come in and do and draw them off. And then, again, October to December, I've caught them all the way into New Year's Day out there on the bridges.
All right, we'll get into a more current report on our fishing report. Drew, makes me want to go out there. You want to go fish the causeway? All right, we'll be headed out there. We'll be right back. Tell them what you're watching, Drew.
Paradise, Louisiana.
We build tires, but not tires like anybody else. We build Cooper tires for people, not just cars. People who are chauffeurs and shuttle pilots, heavy haulers and heavy hitters. More than what your Cooper tires can do, it's about what you can do with your Cooper tires. Life's a road trip. Come on, let's go.
Ask me about my Tempur-Pedic.
Ask me how fast I fall asleep.
Why not talk to someone who's sleeping on the most highly recommended bed in America?
Ask me about staying asleep.
Tempur-Pedic owners are more satisfied than owners of any traditional mattress brand.
Ask me how it feels after 10 years.
Tempur-Pedic, the most highly recommended bed in America.
Ask about Tempur-Pedic at Olin's, where you know you always get the guaranteed low price. Olin's is the only store in Baton Rouge and Lafayette with the full line of Tempur-Pedics.
As sure as the sun rises over the Gulf waters, the excitement builds for the 20th year as the 2014 CCA Louisiana Star Fishing Tournament is upon us.
Me and some of my friends signed up last year, and believe it or not, I actually won.
Over 101 days of fishing, with over 25 inshore and offshore divisions, like the Youth Division, Speckled Trout Division, and don't forget, the Tagged Redfish Division, where the first to catch a tagged redfish wins a new Chevy Silverado. Registered at ccastar.com. Share in the passion, conserve our coast.
Come to the family-owned and operated Cassius Casino in Port Allen today, where the Vegas-style video poker machines are ready for your entertainment. Cassius Casino is the finest, cleanest, classiest casino around. And Cassius 50-style diner is now serving seafood daily, along with your favorite home-cooked specials 24/7. Hey, Cassius is fun. Cassius is exciting. So come to the unsinkable Cassius Casino in Port Allen. Over the river 2 miles west of exit 151.
Welcome to Lafourche, Louisiana. Getting ready for the Golden Meadow-Fourchon International Rodeo. With me is the Admiral this year, Norby Chabert. Say that right.
That's right.
Say that bad, boy. I don't either want your daddy up there talking bad about me or your brother. Because Marty would be really upset with me.
I bet he would be.
Many times I went in a boat with him. Now, tell us right now, being the Admiral was a great big honor. This is the 66th annual. Marty, you know, you being a senator, you don't have a whole lot of time to fish. But I know when you do fish, you fish up here in this area?
Absolutely. You know, growing up in Terrebonne Parish and having Dad being originally from Cutoff and spending all my summers and my 4th of Julys on Grand Isle, being on the water ain't nothing I'm a stranger to. So, you know, it's a tremendous honor to be selected as the Admiral for one of the oldest rodeos on the Gulf Coast. To have it be in my senatorial district that I represent now, based out of, the nation's #1 energy port. It's an honor, and I'm happy to be here, and I look forward to the fishing. Hope the weather's good.
A lot of responsibility too, Norby. Now, let's talk about the dates and when it is and what do people expect, what's going to be going on.
Well, we had a camp on Grand Isle growing up the entirety of my life, and you'd always see the signs driving in for the rodeo. It's every year. It's going to be on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of July, and Fourchon is always packed with people. South Louisiana is always packed with people, and certainly Grand Isle is always packed with people to come on over. And Fourchon is a great place to fish. And not that many people think about leaving out of Fourchon to fish unless you are a Fourchon fisherman. So those of you who have not tried it, we encourage you to do so.
We welcome everybody to come over here on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of July. And another thing that's really special about that, the weigh-ins are all right here, right there by the big pavilion, the tents and everything it is. It's not the granddaddy like the Grand Isle Rodeo, but it is so homebound. I've fished it many years. My former partner, Joe Macalusa, covers it every year, and it's just one of the joys of coming down south of Fourchon.
Well, I tell you what, this rodeo is the front end of the bookends. And everybody likes to fish the rodeos in between the 4th of July and the last weekend in July for the Tarpon Rodeo. But again, like I said, it's one of the oldest rodeos on the Gulf Coast. The true anglers that love these waters, that have fished them for years, understand what it means to support this rodeo, to support this community, and truly be a recipient of what the good Lord blessed us with, and that's phenomenal fishing.
Gary, I guess my big interest with the Golden Meadow Rodeo was, I fished it as a child, and it was one of the inspirational things that we did as a family, and the Grand Isle Tarpon Rodeo, Golden Meadow Tarpon Rodeo, and you hate to see things like that go away, and I didn't realize that the Golden Meadow Tarpon Rodeo, and a lot of people don't know this, is to raise money for scholarships for students of South Lafourche High School. Never knew that. I moved here, I lived here 5 years before I knew that the money actually went towards scholarships for some scholastic or technical student that overachieved and deserved it. And, you compound that with a chance to fish and you get to do that too, I'm all in.
Here we are, media day. We call bad weather again, right of rain. They can blame me, black cloud, whatever they want to do it. Yeah. But it availed us for some time to talk about your committee and what you're doing. You did some bragging too. Tell me, brag on some of the people that really, really helped you this year.
Really, Davey Bro always comes through in the backgrounds, helping put media day together and just everything. Lee Guidry, I can't say enough about her. She's like the paperwork organizer. Angel handles the cook-off completely, pretty much. And Troy Dufresne's our new add-on to the board. And I'm looking forward to Troy taking the presidency from me. He's a native of this area, and I think it's going to allow me to continue to work the rodeo and him to start taking a forefront and handle some of the diplomacy.
You were so passionate about offshore fishing, and now you don't get to do much at all. You just get ready to break, with all the operations and two landings and two stores. So, but Chris Moran, I know it ain't gonna go away offshore fishing. The knowledge you have right now.
Yeah.
Tell us about offshore fishing. I mean, we know specs and everything now, but with your knowledge of offshore fishing, between now and the rodeo, what's going to be hot and what's not?
Pretty much, we have nothing but everything to look forward for the offshore going forward. The only thing you really can't keep are red snapper, but your tuna fishing, your blue water action is incredible right now. The rips are making up. Your mid-range bottom fishing, deep dropping for grouper, your almacos, I guess that's really what it limits it to. Oh, your mangroves. Your mangrove action is great. Nobody, because of the late winter, everybody's just getting started. I mean, now's the time. You got everything to look forward to in the next 2 weeks.
The only thing we got to worry about, we say a lot of prayers, the tropical storms stay away. How about us getting Troy out here? You think you can get Troy to say something?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mr. Dufresne?
Do that.
Yeah.
I'm Troy Dufresne. I'm going to be the new Golden Meadow Fourchon International Tarpon Rodeo president. Come on down to Fourchon and pass a good time with us. this July 4th weekend.
John here. Welcome to my kitchen. On those hot summer days, there isn't anything better than a cool tuna fish salad. One of the best ones around is made with Louisiana remoulade dressing. Make sure you add in your chopped celery, your chopped onion, your relish, chopped egg, your mayo, and remoulade. And we add all that to 7 to 9 ounces of tuna fish. And you will end up with a cool remoulade tuna fish salad. Look for the recipe at paradiselouisiana.com. Try it today, it's wonderful.
Now in its 5th year, the Louisiana Saltwater Series Redfish Trail will visit 8 marinas across Louisiana in what is sure to be the most exciting season yet and a true test for the best redfish anglers. With nearly 3,000 redfish tagged and over $200,000 in prize money awarded, this is a 100% payout 2-man team event for only a $200 entry fee. To register online or see when and where the next tournament is scheduled, visit lasaltwaterseries.com.
Come to the family-owned and operated Cassius Casino in Port Allen today, where the Vegas-style video poker machines are ready for your entertainment. Cassius Casino is the finest, cleanest, classiest casino around. And Cassius 50-style diner is now serving seafood daily, along with your favorite home-cooked specials 24/7. Hey, Cassius is fun. Cassius is exciting. So come to the unsinkable Cassius Casino in Port Allen. Over the river 2 miles west of exit 151.
Welcome to the Berkeley Abu Garcia Fishing Report, starting off with the offshore fishing. It has been on the upswing. It's a shame that the snapper season came and went because there was some beautiful, close to 30-pound red snapper that were being pulled in pretty regularly. You still got to fish in the state waters through the rest of the year. Remember, it's 2 fish per year, and you do need that permit if you're going to be fishing offshore. Also, still getting some good report on the tuna. A very nice run on lemonfish or cobia. Some in the 60-pound class have been coming in out of marinas at Fourchon, also Grand Isle, and over by Venice. Moving on the inside, Carl, you've been fishing over in the eastern end, Biloxi Marsh, Ponchartrain. You live on Lake Catherine. Been kind of a strange year over there.
Yes, it has. It's been a little more difficult. You know, you can get a bite, but the fish are there, then they're gone again. So it's like you're just constantly tracking them down. We went over to the Biloxi Marsh Saturday afternoon, fished the edge in the east shore of Lake Bourne. And we got a couple of real nice reds over there on top water, just using plastics. And then we went yesterday morning, and we located some really nice fish in the morning, but it shut down real quick. And then we went to chasing trout, and we were just plastics under cork. And we had some nice trout bites, but a lot of small fish, a lot of throwbacks. And I think they're there. It's just, everything's just waiting to happen. You just can't seem to, get an idea on it. And I just got back in town too, so it was my first couple of days fishing. So, no especially good info.
Well, moving back to the west, Venice has produced some nice trout. Saw some 6+ pound speckled trout coming in from the Venice area. Grand Isle has been on, but there's been a lot of small fish, particularly coming from that area along the front side of the beaches. Fourchon, the rocks have also been pretty productive over there. There's been a little run of fish in the Lafitte area. Again, you got to really weed through them. You're probably going to have to catch 60 to keep 40 is kind of the ratio I've been getting. A lot of fish under the birds, and typically those fish are going to be a little smaller. Jeff, we talked about some tips for fishing the causeway. How has the causeway been lately in the last couple of weeks?
Well, part of the main problem, again, like everybody else, the weather. The wind, it's either the wind or the rain. The fish are there. They're just a lot of small fish. I think Todd Masson, we went on a trip, and he made a good point that it was so cold last year that the fish didn't really grow. I mean, I could go out there a few weeks ago and catch, like you said, 50 fish, and I might have 10 keepers out of the whole bunch. Constant bites. There are some reds and flounders mixed in with that catch. But if you get the good stable weather, the water cleans up a little bit, the fish are there, so just ease out under the bridges and try to catch a few.
Jeff, on the freshwater side, rainy, stormy weather has really hampered the bass fishermen from getting out there. It's dirtied up a lot of the rivers. What's going to be the long-term and short-term impact, and what's been the reports for bass fishing?
I know that on the radio show you talked about the El Nino, and hopefully we won't get that pattern for the fishing because it's real terrible because you get a lot of rain, and that's what's happening. The rivers will fall. The reports will get great again. Grand Lake was on fire first part of last week. Pearl River was doing good, and all of a sudden you get 6 to 8 inches of rain, and guess what? The rivers are up, everything's muddy, and it just makes it tough fishing. But they are catching bass. You know, some of the Bass and Bucks tournaments and other tournaments locally, they're catching some good stringers this year. But the muddy water and the weather has really hampered it.
So if the rivers are up and muddy and dirty and hard to fish, the marsh would be a good place to turn to?
I know on the Pearl I went last week, and the marsh was muddy everywhere too due to the high water. We caught a few small fish. A little tournament on the Pearl, a little club tournament. Guy told me that they had 7 or 8 pounds won it. So that just tells you that normally a 12-pound stringer over there is normal for the Pearl, and they're not catching that with the muddy water. Yeah, sometimes you just have to bear down and try to find 1 or 2 spots where you can catch a limited fish and hopefully get lucky and catch one that's big enough to put you over the top.
Talk about that Bass and Bucks tournament that was held at Dwarons. I think we got results in. It was about a 15.04-pound stringer. Joey Luke and Joey Zimmern won it. How impressive is that for this time of the year?
With the water conditions and stuff and what my buddies and I found scouting, that's an impressive limit. That's good fish. And they did bring in a lot of fish. There wasn't too many zeros in that tournament. So you can go around and catch fish in the basin. You just have to kind of concentrate on your spots and find the right ones when you can.
This time of year, give us a bait recommendation for bass fishing.
Number one reports I'm getting are spinner baits. The guys are covering some water. But this time of year, start going to the frogs and some of the top water stuff, and then maybe just some soft plastic like some brush hogs or worms.
All right, that's our fishing report. We'll be right back to wrap it up on this week's edition of Paradise, Louisiana.
Benny's Car Wash and Oil Change has been keeping cars and trucks in Baton Rouge clean and running smooth for over 50 years. At Benny's, we feature professional car washing, complete detailing, high-tech waxing and buffing, interior cleaning, and tire shine. Benny's, one stop for car maintenance with complete oil and lube services and even state inspections at our express locations. Visit one of our 5 convenient locations, including our newest store on Greenwell Springs Road. And don't forget to stop by Be Quick Convenience Store and Fuel Stop. Benny's Car Wash and Oil Change. Drive in dirty, drive out clean.
Louisiana Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood. Because we're based in Louisiana, with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. Louisiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Real service, real people.
Yeah, welcome to our new segment of Paradise, Louisiana. And if you heard about all the uproar going on over at Orange Beach, I was over there off the coast of Alabama last weekend, and they had a beach closure due to a sighting of about 150 sharks up on the beach. And of all things they attributed to was the mullet toss that was recently held up there. It looks like some of those mullets that got tossed into the Gulf, attracted a bunch of huge sharks and temporarily had to close the beach. So if you're headed that way, keep in mind that that might just happen. Also, we've got a lot of fishing rodeos coming up. You'll see some of those on the screen. The Save Our Lake Rodeo is going to be coming on. This is like the 17th year. That'll be the weekend of the 27th and 28th. The Blue Jay Fishing Rodeo also going to be that same weekend. This weekend, Catholic High Rodeo going to be held at Moran's Marina in Fourchon. Also over at Bridgeside Marina down in Grand Isle, the Creole Classic, another very popular event there. Carl, we were talking about the Mentor program, the Hunting Heritage program. We got little Drew Dubuc in here with us. This is the future of our hunting and fishing coming up.
Absolutely. In fact, this year we a good friend of ours who woodcock hunts and everything, he took his nephew out, and I've brought my nephews up in fishing and hunting. And it's a real pleasurable experience. I think we need to recruit the new guys and everything in there. I took Jeremy, which is Craig's nephew. He went out and did the youth waterfowl with us and took him waterfowl hunting. And then he's in the woodcock woods. And what a great time for a kid. He's got a little 410 just walking around. You know, they're not going to shoot much, but they enjoy being out there. Love the dogs, love being with all the guys, and really enjoy the the youth hunting. In fact, Lance's son Kyle, I'm going to take him on the youth hunt, and I think that the Heritage program would be a good idea for people like me who have the time, and my nephews are too old now. They're all got their own lives going on. So to mentor some young kids and get them out there in the field, do some things like that. There's perfect examples to do all that stuff.
Well, John Sturgis, Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, that heads up the Louisiana Hunter Heritage Program, is going to come with us and tell you how you can become a mentor. He's got a lot of apprentice hunters that would like to learn. They don't have the wherewithal, don't know how to get started in it, and we'll fill you in on complete details how to do that. I also want to remind you to invite you to send your photographs of your latest catches with a little bit of information. Send it to us at Gary@ParadiseLouisiana.com. And also want to congratulate one of our good friends, Greg Hackney. Looks like Greg did very well in the BASS up at Lake Chickamauga. That was held up in Tennessee. He finished 6th, 70.12 pounds. He is now in second place and only 1 point out of the Angler of the Year. So congratulations to him. Next stop will be the Delaware River, August 7th through 10th, and the Cayuga Lake in New York, August 21st through 24th. So we wish Greg an awful lot of luck. Drew Dubuc, thanks for being with us and showing us some of your expeditions, and we'll be looking forward to having you come back again. You're going to come do this show some more and maybe take over my chair when I get too old to do this? I think that's a yes.
Drew, you think you might want to come hunting with me one time?
Yes,
all right,
indeed. I know
we'll
you got to take her there,
that.
Carl.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming by, Carl.
All right,
and thanks
thank you.
for watching the show. We'll be back again next week. Gary Risponi will be rejoining us for another edition of Paradise, Louisiana.
Paradise, Louisiana, with Gary Risponi and Don Dubuc. Paradise, Louisiana would also like to thank these sponsors.
Baton Rouge Coca-Cola Bottling Company, Danni's Car Wash and Oil Change, Cracker Barrel Convenience Stores. We have more than you expect. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana, Farm Bureau Insurance, Louisiana Fish Fry Products, Gemco, First South Farm Credit, Area Wholesale Tire Company, Tire Programs for Tire Dealers.